Okay, hello YouTube. Here live at the airport on my way to Spain tomorrow morning, to be exact. I wanted to do one live still before. Why is this camera so low? I wanted to talk about something related to my travel as well, and then just give an update. I think I was, sorry about the stuff being all over the place here. There's nobody online, but somebody gave me a thumbs up. Was that possible without anybody being here? Anyhow, so yeah, I'm a little tired. It's 9 o'clock here. I haven't had a live since Sunday night, I think. And as I promised, I would do one this week, and wanted to do it from here at the airport hotel. So in other words, something I mentioned in one of my previous broadcasts or lives was that I'm actually going to spend the next month in Spain. And so there was a real reason for doing this live other than just catching up and keeping my promise. Life is about making good promises and keeping them all. But other than that, I wanted to also briefly talk about something that's close to my heart. Change your circumstances, change your behavior. And the reason why I travel a lot, the reason why I try to put myself in a position where I expose myself to different people, different cultures, different environments is that it's the same as investing in myself. Traveling has always been one of my ways to get better. How do I leave my comfort zone? How do I do things that are uncomfortable in the beginning and as a result grow? I started doing that when I was 19 years old, when I, for the first time, moved to the US by myself without ever having been to the country or really speaking the language or anything. And ever since, I've been trying to implement that strategy. And it's something that I push to my kids as well, trying to actively promote that idea to them, saying that, hey, why don't you just go, branch out, go do things, and just leave the so-called safe and comfortable environment. And the reason why I'm traveling right now is that, first of all, I don't like the winter here in Finland, in Northern Europe. It's too dark and it's too cold, even though it's not that cold outside right now, but it's getting dark. And these 4 months, November, December, January, and February, are not really my thing. So I'm like, okay. And this ties back to my other key thing in life, which is regret. So how do I make sure that I don't have any regrets when I'm out of time, or not even necessarily out of time, but in 5 or 10 or 15 years? So I just got to do the things that I talk about, walk the talk. And ever since I was a kid, I never wanted to be the guy or known as the guy who just had a lot of ideas or talked about a lot of stuff. I just wanted to be the guy who's doing those in real life. And I never understood people who complain about weather. I was like, okay, so if you don't like the weather, get the fuck out. Like, move, go somewhere. And like I said, change your circumstances, change your behavior is huge for me. Every time I hop on a plane, which is going to happen tomorrow morning early, every time I hop on a plane, I can reset my brain. I can see things clearly. So if you're ever lost in life, this would be my piece of advice to you. Change your circumstances and change your behavior. Travel, go someplace by yourself. If you're not comfortable traveling by yourself, get used to it. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Hop on a plane, reset your mind, meet different people in a different environment, and all of a sudden you're going to be behaving differently yourself. That's usually, in my opinion, the best hack for short-term happiness, so to say, and you automatically see things in a different light and understand different perspectives. That's how I try to live my life, implement it in real life as well. And it's one of the reasons why I'm now spending the next month in Spain. It's hard to leave my kids behind, even though they are older. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And I also think that it's good for them to be able to spend some time by themselves. Of course, their mother is there. Close to them, they can always call me and I'll talk to them daily. But the point is that when I'm not breathing down their neck or doing their laundry or doing their dishes, they have to step up and take action themselves and actually get better that way. I think it's a win-win, massive win-win for everybody. And my channel here on YouTube is all about the things that I do, and then being passionate about those, passing those on to other people, so in case that helps. I talk about these things with my clients all the time. I just ended a call with one of my clients an hour ago, and had a quick bite, quick dinner here at the restaurant here at the hotel, and then wanted to start this live and start talking about the stuff that, like I said, that's close to my heart. And traveling is one of those things. So there are three big categories in life as far as decisions go: people, places, and jobs. Who you hang out with is probably the most important decision. Who's your life partner? Number two, what do you do for a living? And where do you live? And those are all intuition type decisions. There is no formula, there is no Excel spreadsheet, or it doesn't matter how much data you have collected, it still has to come from within. It's called the inner energy, or your gut, or your intuition. And my intuition says clearly to me that where I live, where I spend my time, is a huge thing for me. And my goal going forward is to start spending more time elsewhere in the winter, and kind of live in this hybrid mode. Of course, depending on what my kids do, but that's my goal. I wanted to pass this message on. Change your circumstances, change the environment. Think about it. If you're ever stuck, you feel lost, put yourself in a different environment. Even if you can't travel, if it's not financially feasible, take a different route to work. Go shop at a different grocery store, or go to a different gym. Mix things up. Hang out with different people. When I talk to my clients, or when I talk to people around me, it's mind-boggling how many of us are limited by those loved ones, so-called loved ones, or family members who keep us stuck. It has such a monumental impact on our well-being, financially, professionally, in every possible way. Of course, it's hard to reset your inner circle and start from scratch, but I think it's sometimes the only thing we can do. And traveling, to me, is like a mini reset. You don't necessarily have to get divorced, sell your house, or move to a different country, but you can just hop on a plane, or even drive somewhere, take a train, or whatever you want to do. But travel, widen your perspective, so to say, and all of a sudden you start to see things clearly. That's what happens to me all the time. That's why I want to do it. That's why I'm preaching about it, being so passionate. You know me. Anyhow, would love to take some questions. I know this is pretty late. Well, depending on where you are, obviously. It's 9 p.m. here. I don't know where you guys are at, but whoever is online is probably somewhere either in Europe or in the US. But speaking of Spain, tomorrow is Friday, November 7th. I'm going to be there for a month and a day. And I was actually thinking of doing one live every day. And that way, keep connecting with the audience, and try to also retrain the YouTube channel, my so-called algorithm, that I'm actually here to talk to. Mostly men over 40, of course. If you're not over 40 and you're female, or whatever your age group is or sex is, I don't mind that, but most of my clients are in that, or all of my clients are in that age bracket, and I think my message probably best resonates with those people. But anyhow, that's it's all good. It's all good. What else is going on? And if you happen to be on YouTube, which is the case since this is on YouTube, go check out my latest video. And by the way, last time I noticed that I can start my YouTube live here in parallel on my laptop, because when it's displayed horizontally, for some reason the comments, like in the previous chat, they didn't stay there. They kind of like pop up and then they disappear. But when I open my chat here, my own live, which is weird because I see it, there's a delay. I see all the comments if there are any. Yeah. So whoever is online, if you have any questions, go ahead. We can talk about anything, whatever comes to your mind. When I used to do these a lot, when I used to do the vertical lives a lot, every single live pretty much started with people commenting on my looks, whether I looked like John Cena, Johnny Sins, Jason Statham, what were the other ones? Anyhow, mass murderer, organized crime, military, and all that. That was the kind of like the fun part. Always trying to figure out what the ugly bald guy, what does he look like? Yeah, but if you guys just want to hang out, or if you want me to preach about something or talk about something that's close to my heart, I can do that too. Just trying to place I got my bag here, my suitcase, plenty of stuff. I'm at this airport hotel here. It's not too bad, actually. And like I said, I have an early morning flight tomorrow, 6:30, direct from Helsinki to Malaga. And then from there, I get a rental car and drive to Marbella, where I usually hang out. Well, actually, I'm not all the way there. I'm kind of like halfway there between Malaga and Marbella, but same area. There's a great gym there that I go to. If you're ever in the area, I can highly recommend 2 gyms. Oxygen Gym, which is the one that I'm going to go to now. It's in Mijas Costa, like Calahonda area, close to the old town, Marbella. Or then if you are in Marbella, in Puerto Banús, Real Club Padel Marbella is really good too. So those are the gyms where I train at normally when I'm there. Why Spain? Good question. It's continental Europe, the best weather in the wintertime in continental Europe. It's pretty much the same time zone compared to where my kids are. I like your last video. How many trainings per week do you recommend for a start? I'll answer you in a sec, but I'm going to finish this thought. Why continental Spain and that Costa del Sol? It's because best weather in the wintertime, and it's an international area, so I like that. That was the reason. To your point, thank you for the feedback. I train every other day at the gym, so I have day on, day off, day on, day off. So basically I train, and then I train upper body, lower body. Meaning I hit the same body part twice every 8 days, right? So almost twice a week, you would say. But every 8 days I train legs twice, I train upper body twice. That's my system. Training split. I've tried every single possible training split in my life, starting with push-pull legs, then going to like a 5-day split, like you would do like chest only, delts only, back, legs, whatever. And then I did also full body workouts for a little bit. I made the mistake of training too much, and I literally, like, my right shoulder got all fucked up because of, I wouldn't call it overtraining, but lack of recovery. So I then switched back to a 2-day split, meaning upper body, lower body. This is really what I like a lot. I did like whole body workouts too. Happy Thursday with the smile. Hey, I know you. Hope things are well in Germany. So yeah, so speaking of training splits and programs, so I do like whole body or upper body, lower body. So I don't know what your background is, but don't fall for that pro bodybuilder type 5-day split. It's a completely different ball game when you're enhanced. And I think for a so-called natural athlete, I think it's really crucial to hit the same body part every 3 or 4 days, 3 to 5 days. I think it's ideal. I would focus on intensity, and I would go relatively low volume, depending on your background, of course. But if you're just starting, you need to work your way up as far as intensity goes. But remember this, your body always tries to adapt and revert back to the status quo. So if it doesn't have to get stronger, it won't. So in order for you to make gains at the gym or get stronger, get more muscular, you really have to push the envelope. You have to take your body to a level or to a place where it's never been before, so that it gets a signal from you saying, okay, oh my God, this guy is now doing something, so I better get prepared. And by prepared, that means that I'm getting stronger. I'm getting, I'm basically growing the muscles I have to, because there's so much outside stimulus, if you will, that causes that. So that's the thing. So very few people train so hard that they get or see gains or improvements at the gym. So intensity is a problem for many people. But of course, I mean, there are different types of goals. But I've been the type of guy, if you look at my shorts, for instance, on this channel, I just talked about this relentless drive that I have. So there is nothing else but in life, in my opinion, rather than you're either growing or you're dying. There is no status quo. There is no status quo. Your company is either growing or it's dying, slowly dying, right? And I think as humans, we're the same way. Your fitness is the same way. If you just stay home and eat chocolate, it's a gradual decline. In a short enough time horizon or time span, it might look like a status quo, that I'm not really changing one way or the other, but the reality is very different. You're actually declining. So that's why every time I do something, and again, time is so valuable to us, that why would you go to the gym and not push your body, try to get better one way or the other? It doesn't mean that you always move heavier weights, but you can improve your technique, you can do more reps, you can do shorter rest periods between sets. There's so many different ways how you can get better, you know what I mean? And when we get older, I don't know how old you are, I'm 49, but I have to be really smart. I've had my nicks and knacks and small injuries here and there all the time, so that I really, really focus on proper warm-up and prep and technique and form, so that whenever I hit the gym, whenever I start training, it's with the safest possible form, so that my body is ready for that. And still, every now and then, little things, happen here and there. But anyhow, I don't know if that was your question, but I gave you a very long answer. Hopefully that added some value. That's how I look at it. But I think it's the same way. The more I think about, I'm a huge fan of quotes and mental models. And the last one I fell in love with is this one that I posted somewhere as well. It's about life being simple, but not easy. Us wanting it easy makes it complicated. Training is the same way, business is the same way. Life, at the end of the day, is extremely simple. The simple things are the most effective ones. But we often forget that it doesn't mean that it's easy. Simple and easy are not the same thing. And if you want things to be easy, whether it's training at the gym or growing your business, that's when life gets hard or complicated. And I think the only solution is to get comfortable with that uncomfortable. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like you can reframe your mind in so many different ways and sell the idea to yourself that, hey, this is the best thing ever. What would need to happen in order for this to be the best thing ever? I've been very vocal, very open on this channel about this being the hardest year for me professionally, because I'm in the process of ramping down an existing business that cannot be just disconnected like an on-off switch, and at the same time trying to grow my coaching or my online business at the same time. And it's been really super fucking hard. And it's not that it's hard, but there's like with my legacy business, there's just been a bunch of issues with my contractor, that being the real estate business, contractor going bankrupt. There's a lot of warranty claims and stuff like that, liabilities that just hit, me, because there's nobody else to shoulder that blame. And kind of like not being able to get rid of that has been super tough mentally. And then trying to grow this at the same time. But anyhow, that's not the point. So the point is that I've been thinking a lot about how complicated or how adversity and how difficulties can actually still be something that we should be enjoying. Because if you think about it, we don't really learn anything when things are easy and when it's just smooth sailing. But it's the adversity, it's all the stuff that happens outside your comfort zone that really makes you better. So why do we try to avoid that? Because it's not really good for us. But we automatically think, because we have this negativity bias, our brain is basically designed to keep us safe. If you want to be successful in life, you cannot trust your brain or your feelings, because its job is not to make you successful, but its job is to keep you safe. And that's a completely different ballgame. Those are completely different things. And I think about this a lot in a personal context. And I keep asking myself, okay, if shit happens, okay, what would need to happen in order for this to be the best thing ever? You know what I mean? So like, how do I reset the circumstances, the mindset, the mental models around me that, okay, well, how could this be the best thing ever that happened to me? Why don't I find that positive in it? But I don't know, I'm ranting again. What else is going on? Did that make any sense, what I said? Anybody listening? I appreciate everybody who's online, by the way, more than you think. Any comments that come are the highlight of my day. I just enjoy this. I honestly, but maybe I'm humble, humble is not the right word. Well, I am in a way, but not in certain ways, but naive in such a way. I think I can help many people, most people, one step at a time. Yes, one step at a time. And I actually honestly enjoy that. But regarding one step at a time, I've launched this concept called one day cycle for myself. And I talk about this a lot with my clients too. And what it means in practice is that whenever we have a hard time with something, it usually means that we have a little bit of this sense of entitlement type of a mentality, that we are entitled to stuff. And then if that doesn't happen, meaning if people don't treat me fairly, or if I didn't get what I wanted, I'm going to get disappointed. I have my emotions, right? And I'm going to be sad or angry or whatever the emotion is. So entitled to stuff. But what if we flip that completely upside down? Like, okay, well, who says that we are entitled to anything? Okay, if we are not really entitled to anything in life, I can be grateful for everything and everyone. And most of the time, unhappiness or overwhelm or depression comes from the idea that we are only successful if we get the outcome we wanted, meaning we are very, very end result driven and oriented. We are addicted to the end result. So what if I could cut all my ties to the end result and just focus on one day at a time? Forget the results for now, because I think that, at least in my case, this principle has resulted in better results down the road. So what if I just cut all my ties to the long-term results and even mid and short-term results? I'm like, okay, I just live in a one-day cycle. And all I do is I just try to empty my tank. So this morning or tomorrow morning, when I wake up early, I ask myself, what's today's signal? Meaning, what's relevant for today? And it's sometimes super hard, by the way, when you have a lot of things on your plate, a lot of things in your mind, then you have to really, really find those 2 things out of those 24 that move the ball forward the most. Once you've found those, then everything else, meaning those other 22 things, become noise. So you only focus on signal, okay? The rest of the stuff I can postpone or delegate or ignore. And then you ask yourself at the end of the day, if you completed those actions, those 2 things that you were supposed to do. And then that means that your day was successful. So you live in a one-day cycle. And you fully expect none of this to carry over for tomorrow. So tomorrow morning or the following morning, you wake up again and you might feel like shit. And that's normal. Emotions go up and down. So that's why we can't really rely on our emotions. And then I just start taking action. Again, go through the one-day cycle, meaning morning I identify what's signal and what's noise, and I do that, complete the actions, and then ask myself at the end of the day, did I do what I promised or said I would need to do? And if yes, that was a success. you know? That's how I try to look at it. I try to pull something up here. I took some notes today, some quotes. I don't know how well they are related to this, but if you think about life overall, you could say that there are infinite games and finite games. An infinite game is a game that's never supposed to end, right? So let's say, you know, health is one. So you're not supposed to really be in your best possible shape by next summer, but your job is to be in shape for life, right? In relationships, you don't try to win a battle, you try to stay married. In business, you try to stay in the game. That's how you win. So basically, ultimately, in the game of business, there are no winners or losers. There are only quitters and players, those who stay in the game. There was a question. I missed that because it disappears. I'm going to pull it up here. Pitt asks, do you have many successful days in a row? To be perfectly honest, using this one-day cycle method, I've had many successful days in a row. It doesn't mean that, like using this year as an example, it doesn't mean that my mornings have been easy or my days have been easy, but I just gotta remember that my job is to stay in the game. There are no winners or losers. There are only quitters and players. And you never lose in the game of business if you never quit. So I never plan on quitting. The same way in fitness, I just keep on going. I've been training for 32 years. Hopefully I can train for another 32 years. So that's my goal. And to answer your question, I think I've been fairly successful in terms of following this one-day principle and identifying signal from noise. It's funny, I have to go back to my own chat here because they disappear, the questions. Did you launch the real estate channel yet? Yes, I did. I did launch the real estate channel. It doesn't have too many videos, but this is a good question. Focus is one thing that I think about a lot. If you've been listening to me in the past, I've been extremely honest and transparent about my inability to say no in the past has probably been my biggest roadblock, personally and professionally. Okay, let me explain. So what that means is that in the past, I always thought that yes is the answer, the default answer. Okay, I have a backup plan, I have an insurance policy, I leave all the doors open that might be needed in the future. Okay, and that resulted me being 3 out of 10 or 4 out of 10 in many different fronts. So I took on projects after projects and businesses after businesses, and then what I realized, I would say, I'm extremely humble to admit this, maybe 4 years ago, that this has been one of my biggest weaknesses. How is this related to your question? I'll tie this back to your question in a sec. So since I have not been able to say no, it made me a yes man in business opportunities, for instance, and that resulted in lack of growth, I would say, in many respects. And I would say that I wasn't as good as I would have wanted to be in many of those fronts. So I should have been able to say no to many opportunities so that I would actually say yes to the most important ones. So attention and focus is one thing that I think about a lot based on my own experience. So dividing content into two different channels is one thing. This alone, thinking about this so-called, what I call the mindset channel, where I talk about like business, relationships, and health, really passionate about that stuff, is a full-time job. So then switching my brain into that real estate mode, you could say that, yeah, it's just a different type of piece of content. You're absolutely right. But right now, I'm not sure how I'm going to keep both of them going. And I don't know. I don't have an answer to that yet. But yes, I did launch that. But yeah, It's something I think about a lot. Focus is something I think about a lot overall. And how important it is to say no before you say yes. Because by saying no, you say yes to the right things and the most important things. But I have some good, nice, epic stories in the real estate front, so it's good to be able to share those. But I'm still, if I'm completely honest with you, I think I have more to give in this front, where I put together the combination of my life experience in all of these fronts, so business and work, and then relationships and health, the overall mindset stuff. I think I have more to give there. I might be better there. If I think about people, they gravitate to, because I think I'm more of a Swiss Army knife than an expert in one field. Kind of goes against that focus thing a little bit, but I think that's where I have the most to offer. I don't know. We'll see in the future how this goes. It's really super interesting to see how all of that can be implemented and how I'm able to pull this off if I can. I'm super curious to see how good I can be at the end of the day. I'm just honestly, this is going to be one of the most fascinating things going forward, because I just want to, at the end of the day, see how good I truly am, if there's anything to give. I thought it was going to be linked to your real estate business. Okay, I get it. You have a wealth of knowledge in real estate, though. I have some, yeah. I have 20 plus years, but yeah. So it would be, you're absolutely right. It would be a shame to not pass that on, but I can pass those on, those real estate business relationship, learnings, those learnings when I help my clients in their businesses too, because those are all universal learnings. So that's how I look at it. So yeah, my plan is to do these daily, at least five times a week now from Spain. I'm going to be by myself, so I have plenty of time there, and I can time my lives so that they are kind of prime time for Europe at least, and the US, and if not, why not for some people in Asia too. But I'm going to be doing a lot more of these, so hopefully people see some value add in talking to me, because I enjoy these. I believe, by the way, the future of social media is in lives more and more, raw and real. During these times when AI is making it easier and easier to post content, edit stuff, with the click of a button you can create shorts and whatnot. I think lives that are just authentic, with all the mistakes, all the comments, everything, no post-production, I think that's going to be the thing going forward. Yeah, that's a good point. How would you want that? If I do them in the evening, it's going to be pretty dark outside already, but we'll see. Maybe I do one outside. I'll post pictures on my community, like I do a community post. Or maybe I do shorts outside. I'll try that. Yeah, it's funny when I look at myself here on the computer screen, there's a delay of like 3 or 4 seconds. It's very funny. I'm not used to that, watching myself here, seeing myself. Anyhow, anything else on your mind, guys? What can I help you with, or can I help you with anything? What do we want to talk about? What else is going on in the world? I've noticed that people who are in these horizontal lives, there are less of them. Pre-recorded during the day and show us on the live. That's one way to do it. Yeah, that's one way to do it. I just like the live atmosphere with all the. Actually, I don't feel any pressure, but knowing that I can't edit these in any way. It's like whatever I say, whatever I mess up, It's going to be there. It's going to stay. I like that idea. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. I don't know anymore. It's getting pretty late. Well, it's not that late, but kind of tired to go to bed early. I have to wake up like 4:30 in the morning, so that's okay. Yeah, something about Spain, something about lives. It is what it is. Yeah, November 7th, tomorrow. How many days to Christmas? So a month and what, 17 days, month and a half? And then this year is pretty much over. That's going to be crazy. People talk about goals. Do you have, I mean, there's 4 people online right now. Do you guys have goals? Do you write stuff down? What do you believe in? Is that a process that works for you? You kind of like, are you one of those people who like at the start of the year, like, okay, you write down meticulously about, okay, what is it I want to achieve this year? What are my goals, financial, personal, health, whatever? Are you one of those people, or are you one of those people, like I mentioned, like, you know, just kind of like try to cut all ties to all that midterm, short-term, long-term results and just live in a one-day cycle? How do you do that? And why do you think one is better than the other? If you want to chime in. I'm curious to hear. Because I have tried both and I have my opinion on what works the best for me. Okay, while waiting for comments, if there's any coming, I'm gonna real talk, explain where I'm at. So I already kind of gave you the idea as far as what I do today. So basically nowadays I try to live in a one-day cycle. I just try to, I don't write anything down, nothing whatsoever. Of course I have a list of things in my mind that I want to do. Writing things down is very important for me and I can highly recommend it. Okay? Okay. I think that's very typical for people who want to get stuff done and who are, I would say, high achievers. I used to be one of those people. I remember I've told this story many times probably. I don't know if you have heard this, but when I was 21 years old, I lived in LA. This was 1999. I bought my first self-development book by Brian Tracy. And it literally opened my eyes as far as target setting goes. And he had these stories about people who started writing stuff down. And I remember this, you know, it's like almost like it was yesterday. There's one guy who was driving this old, you know, rundown, whatever, piece of shit. I wanted to buy a brand new, no, it was BMW, but it doesn't matter. And he basically taped the logo of BMW on his steering wheel. And he was like, the whole point was about visualizations. Like you see it in front of you and it makes you think about it and all of that. Daily to-do list the night before that are in line with 2-3 long-term directional goals. Okay, Matteo, how's it going? I'm actually coming to Spain, if I remember right. You're there, right? New Zealand or Australia, and going to Spain often. Actually on my way, if you didn't hear. But anyhow, so that was my story regarding Brian Tracy. So I was like, that revolutionized my thinking. And I used to be, for like probably 2 decades, I used to be the guy who at the end of the year or beginning of the year wrote down everything. It's like, this is what I want to achieve and whatnot. The problem with that, with me, was that I became very, or I would say extremely end result, outcome oriented, addicted. And I basically measured my success based on that outcome. You know, I lost my mojo if things didn't go as planned. And then I understood that if you think about life, you honestly need to fail. Because fail is about collecting data. And your job is to fail as fast as possible, collect as much data as possible, because if you never fail, you're not trying hard enough. So if you think about that, so if you're training your mind to be very outcome or end result oriented, you're most likely going to end up being like me, maybe not, but that's how I was. So I wasn't very happy with that because I was too addicted to the outcome. So I understood that the only way to increase my happiness and my productivity was to cut my ties to the very concrete end results. It doesn't mean that I was less aggressive in chasing them, but I identified the winning actions. I was able to get more clear on signal versus noise. And then like Matteo was saying, so I start my day with kind of like a to-do list. What's signal versus noise? It's probably two things. And then that's 95% of my time. 5% is about asking myself, what are the things I need to do now so that I have no regrets at 90? And those are my anchors. Those are my long-term anchors. Everything else is about one-day cycle. So I empty my tank. I just empty my tank. I ask myself in the morning, what do I need to do? What's signal? Meaning what's really, really important. Because I believe that highly successful people are exceptionally good at recognizing signal from noise. They understand what needs to be done. The rest is noise. It's like ignore. I don't need to touch that shit. I just do what's really important. And to me, and I'm not saying anybody should or you should follow my model. I'm just saying that I've done both, and the latter one works for me much better. I never believed in those New Year's resolutions. Achieving goals is a continuous process, and the only thing that matters is when you achieve them. Life can get so complicated that you never know when you'll achieve something. What is signal for you at the moment? Good question. So signal right now, so it's basically different for every day, but I can give you an example for today. Today's signal was basically client meetings times 2 and this live. So basically content and client meetings. The day before it was recording one video, actually recording 5 short videos. That was that day's signal, but it changes. Tomorrow I have a travel day, so there isn't that much work related that I'm going to be doing. But my long-term anchors, Matteo, are basically, I want to be the best possible dad to my kids. I want to live forever. Yeah, I know it's not possible, but still doing my best. And I want to see how good I can truly be business-wise. So no stones unturned, so to say. All in, flat out, all the time. And those are my long-term anchors. No regrets at 90. And then I just want to keep getting better. I just want to keep getting better. And right now I want to grow my coaching business, be the best possible version of me. And then that means that I have to put my legacy real estate business on the side. And I have to basically say no to that stuff. I got to take care of some of those things too. But signal is to grow my new business, and there I need to market and I need to promote. So most of my signal right now on a daily basis, I would say 80% of my time is about how can I be better? How can I create more content? How can I market and how can I promote better? Because I have identified online presence, growing my brand, being on YouTube, being the things that I need to do. So basically all of my activities or signal is that. Right on. Depends on the mindset. I use writing things down as a reminder not to pressure myself. It's a guide to keep me on track. What does good business mean for you? Revenue, people served. Yeah. Good business. Basically, I would say, so in my case, overall, I can answer both. I think number one, business needs to add value. There's no point existing unless you can help people. Whether you are selling t-shirts or microphones for phones, or you're in a service business. At the end of the day, you have to be good enough to be able to help people, add value. People always pay for time and convenience. So that's as an overall statement. If you ask me, what are my goals or what do I want to achieve or what's good business for me, it's basically, I don't really have a target number in mind. I believe if I can focus on my quality, if I can add value, if I can help people that are my clients, money will always follow. So you always get what you deserve in life. That's one of my biggest principles. So don't worry about the short-term results, because if you don't get what you really think you deserve right now, in 6 months or 12 months, zoom out. Because I can guarantee you, if you're good enough, you always get what you deserve. So that's why I don't really worry about it, what the revenue is, but whether it's 100K or a million a year or whatever that is. But I think we always get what we deserve. So I just focus on getting better. I just focus on doing the right things. And that's sometimes hard, because recognizing signal from noise, like I said, is super, super difficult. When you wake up in the morning and you're overwhelmed and you have 24 things that you need to take care of, then that's when it gets really hard. It's like, okay, out of these 24, what are the things I really need to focus on? And then I just do those, and the rest becomes noise. I asked myself, one good way to test that is that, okay, so ask yourself, out of these 24 things, which one of these do you think are problems that you worry about still in 6 months? And if you really go through that process, or you can do it in hindsight too, go back to your calendar and look at the things that you had, like reminders or to-dos or meetings or whatnot, 6 months ago. Most of them you don't even remember. So I would argue that most of the things we have on our plate are things that we don't even remember in 6, let alone 12 months. And that's in line with studies, by the way. Because if you think about, there are studies that show that people on average, we always worry about 2 or 3 things daily, constantly. But 91% of those worries never materialize. And of the 9% that do, 1/3 of them turn out better than expected. So we have a tendency of worrying about shit that never happens. You know what I mean? So usually those 24 items on my plate, they are nowhere near as bad as what I think, you know? So I think we can ruthlessly prioritize as long as we understand what is truly important. And I think that's it. If you really want to be highly effective in life, if you think about these super, super successful entrepreneurs, yeah, you might have your opinion on Elon Musk, but nobody can argue how successful and good he has been. And he's probably one of those people who's probably 90 or 100% signal. He doesn't spend a second on noise. Steve Jobs, highly controversial, rude as fuck, difficult person, was the same way. He didn't care what people said. He just focused on signal. And many people who, tell stories about these people in that regard. But I think you don't have to be an asshole, that's not my point. But you got to understand what truly is important. And that's sometimes very hard, because you have emotions, you have feelings involved. And I think that's that. I don't know if I answered your question, hopefully. Good comments, by the way. Thank you. Very good questions. Enjoy this. What else is going on? Yeah, so now I remember what I was about to say. So what I've noticed is that when I have a horizontal live, people stay longer versus vertical. And I think the reason is that vertical lives are shown as part of the, what's the right word? The shorts, I don't know, the feed. Yeah, shorts feed. And these are not. So I think that's why it's different. When you create content and run your biz, do you operate from peace and trust, aka waking up calm, knowing what moves the needle, doing it, and then resting? Do you struggle to disconnect? Good question. Do I operate from peace and trust? Peace, no. Trust, more or less, probably yes. Let me explain. If we think I answer this way, I go back again and tie this back to your question. if we think about self-confidence, because ultimately I think what you're asking is self-confidence. Do I have enough confidence in me and in my process, in my actions, that what I'm about to do or what I'm doing right now is going to work out at one point? Yes and no. Every time, if you think about yourself, you train, right? And you probably have a lot of confidence. You go to Padel Club in Puerto Banús, and you're like, okay, I know the equipment, I know the guys, and I'm in pretty good shape, and and I'm probably in top 5% or top 1% of that gym, so I have plenty of confidence. I walk in there, and people can tell, right? They can tell I've been working out, and they can tell based on when I touch the weights, they know what I'm doing, right? I have a lot of confidence. But let's assume that you've never been skydiving before. Would you say you have a lot of confidence jumping off an airplane? I don't think so. At least I wouldn't have any. I would have zero confidence. But what I do know is that I've done this same thing, meaning starting from scratch as an entrepreneur in a completely different business or industry in a different country or whatever, completely resetting my board, so to say, 3 times. So I have a lot of confidence in my ability to learn by putting in the reps and doing a lot of volume. So I can take that piece of confidence about what works or what has worked before, and I have a lot of trust in that. And I'm like, okay, I have no fucking idea how long it's gonna take for me to establish my base and get my views up to a consistent level and whatnot. Retrain the algorithm because now it's confused because of my legacy subscribers and whatnot. Do I have a lot of peace? No, I'm restless and I'm like passionate. I'm like, come on, has to happen faster. But at the same time, I know that one of my biggest strengths in life is my ability to just keep executing, because I know that has always worked out in the past. And I hope and I think the same qualities work in this business too. You know what I mean? So there, I hope I'm answering your question. So yes and no. I'm impatient, but I have a lot of confidence in my ability in the past, which I can hold on to, grab that, and convert it over here. But since this is a new thing, I'm kind of still, sometimes I find myself questioning my ability and saying, okay, well, I don't have no idea. But it gives me a lot of comfort when it comes to those sleepless nights and being overwhelmed and being like, okay, I have no idea how this is going to work out. Knowing that, A, I've done it before, I've had the same feelings, and every time I've been able to grow my companies to millions, basically. I don't know if this is going to be that. It's a different business, but different story. And knowing that just being able to execute, outlast everybody, because I'm not going to give up. As long as I enjoy it, I just don't care. And knowing that I don't need to worry about it because I always get what I deserve. That's the beauty of it. If I'm good enough, I will get the results, whether it's in a year, 5 or 10. I have no idea. Hey. Let me see. Do you struggle to disconnect? Yeah, I think I do struggle to disconnect. I do struggle to disconnect because I'm a fucking bulldog, meaning that I just keep going. I just have this relentless drive to get better. If I have doesn't matter what I do, as long as I'm passionate, I enjoy it, I want to get better at it, I just keep going. I keep going. I don't take any days off. It's a good and bad, but in a way I do have, but I enjoy it. I wouldn't do this. I don't do anything in life anymore that I don't enjoy, to be perfectly honest. I enjoy this. It's almost 10 p.m. I enjoy this more than anything. This is the highlight of my day. Believe it or not, I enjoy this. So I don't feel like I need to disconnect. Yeah, hopefully that help you a little bit. But good. Matteo, are you in Spain right now? anyhow, I'm on my way. But oh, France planning to go to Marbs in March. Okay, okay. I'll probably go and do another month in sometime after Christmas. So I'm gonna do a full month now and then probably another one after Christmas. But let me know, we can catch up, go train or whatever. What else? Did that make any sense? Yeah, we were talking about setting goals and then we got sidetracked, which is fine. It's the beauty of these. And then what else? What else is going on? This has been good. This has been really good. Super fun. What's the plan for tomorrow? So following that question about Signal, like I said, tomorrow's a travel day. I got to get my Airbnb around 1-ish, 1 p.m. I think they promised. Then go to a grocery store. If I'm not super tired, I'm going to start another live. I'll announce that beforehand. And then, yeah, I won't train tomorrow. I'll train on Saturday. My knee's been bothering me like crazy, and my right ankle, oh my God. So I hope I can train legs next. Yeah, that's about it. Just like, I'm hoping that hopping on a plane again is gonna, like I said in the beginning, that's how I started this whole live, was about, okay, change the circumstances, change the behavior. One of the best hacks for productivity, seeing things clearly. If you're overwhelmed, just like do that stuff. And I'm hoping that being able to put some distance between me and my normal routines, I would be able to get some new ideas about content. But there's so much stuff, so many things that I could talk about. Maybe more shorts, maybe more longs and all that. But hopefully I can get into a mode where I can just like crank up my volume a little bit there because of that clarity, because of that distance. And this is really why I do this stuff. Of course, the weather too, but to me, it's just the productivity. Being able to, when you put yourself in a different environment, whether it's people, whether it's places or jobs, you will behave differently. That's just people don't talk about that often enough. Everybody who travels knows this. It's the biggest investment and the best investment in yourself by far. I don't know, I know I'm preaching about stuff, you can call me an old crazy guy, but it is what it is. It's all good. It's on my channel. Do you still stress about finances giving you businesses and experience? Yeah, I don't think that ever goes away. And especially now because of my ramp down real estate business, there's a lot of big ticket items there that I have to be, I'm kind of like the piggy bank for everybody, handing out checks, so to say. But then I also know that, again, I'm boring and simple with my principles, but I'm like, okay, why do I worry about it? Because if I'm worried about it, I don't trust my own capability, because I know more than anybody that I always get what I deserve. If I'm good enough, I can monetize anything that I do. If I'm not, I have to get better. And yeah, but I do. I don't think it ever goes away. I think this is the thing. This is really how I look at it. Those are emotions, those are feelings. Then you gotta know that you can't trust your feelings, because your brain is there to keep you safe, not to make you successful. Think about it. It's in your DNA. There was a time when you heard something in the bushes behind you. It was either your lunch for the next 2 days, or you became somebody else's lunch. It's called the negativity bias. Our brain is exceptionally good at recognizing and sensing danger. That's why it's always trying to keep you safe. That's why you have those bad feelings. That's why I'm stressing about my finances or stressing about whatever, because I sense danger. Every time I sense danger, my brain is telling me to play it safe. Hold your horses, okay? My job is to ignore that if I want to get something done, something exceptional, right? Whatever the exceptional is. I'm not necessarily talking about money. I'm talking about launching different businesses, trying my, really putting myself into a test, then I can't trust my brain and my feelings. That's the number one mistake. Actions fix feelings. So forget that. That's all bullshit. That's noise, okay? And then start your engine, get going. And so to my point, I think it's okay to feel emotional about whatever, but then we need to understand where it comes from. We need to be so knowledgeable that we know where it comes from, and then we need to know how to apply that in our life, meaning having tools. Because if you think about wisdom in life, highly intelligent people, in my opinion, are those people who have been able to collect the data and then apply that in their own life. It's no good if you go to the university ×3 and get 3 PhD degrees, but you can't apply that information, use that information in your life. That's fucking useless. So being smart is about knowing how to apply that data and that information in your life, right? I mean, otherwise, what's the point of collecting all the data? How is this related to that point? I think it's about understanding where these feelings come from and having the tools to stop the negative cycle. I don't think we can ever really stop the feelings from hitting us, and I think that's okay. I don't think we even should try. But if you have a mental model, if you have a tool in your toolbox for every scenario like that, you're like, okay, it doesn't matter. I wake up feeling like shit tomorrow morning, but I have a tool in my toolbox to fix the feelings, and I can get going again. I think that's the way I look at it. So, good questions though. I'm passionate. I hope you know, I don't disrespect your question. I think it's a great question. All the questions are great. I'm just like, when I get emotional like that, it's like I'm passionate. You can tell that you hit the right spot in here. It triggers something in my brain. Maybe we think about the same stuff. It's all good. It was super fun, or has been super fun. Maybe one or two more questions, then I gotta go and try to get some rest. I gotta wake up early tomorrow. Getting high on questions. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's actually fun. It's really super fun. I enjoy this. I keep saying this, but anyhow, it's true. It's funny how sometimes you feel so much more natural in front of a camera. I mean, I'm fine. These lives don't. I mean, I'm not nervous or anxious in any way, but sometimes you always, you stumble with your words and you don't. That nothing seems to make sense what you're saying or what I'm saying myself. Got to take a shower still. But anyhow, keep them coming. I'm going to wait for a couple of more minutes, and then I'm going to close this. And then I'll talk to you probably tomorrow. Yeah, when I'm going to do another live tomorrow evening after going to a grocery store. I'm probably setting my following day. I'm going to have to cut some shorts tomorrow and launch some stuff and whatnot. Maybe use this, see if this live is good for anything. Where are you heading? I drive to. Oh, you mean like over there? I have an apartment in. I fly over to Malaga, and then I have an apartment in Calahonda. Right next to the gym there, Oxygen. Or like 5 minutes away. I was there last time. Usually I'm always in Puerto Banús, but I wanted to try something else, and I really like that gym. I don't know if you've been training there. So that's where I'm going now. I guess it's officially Mijas Costa or Calahonda, either way, but somewhere there. Have you trained there? They basically have the whole freaking gym is. Initiated to Padel. What do you mean? Oxygen. Yeah, I mean, I have a membership at Padel too. I pay, month to month. Well, I mean, whenever I'm there, I reactivate it. But they have this, application there. Oxygen, not yet, only Elements. Okay. Yeah, so check it out. It's really good. They have all their equipment. I mean, it's massive. The better equipment than Padel. They have Gym 80, they have Cybex, and Hammer Strength only. And basically, like Hammer Strength, I mean, they've got like fucking every single possible equipment there. They have the kind of like an outdoor covered patio area at the second floor. They have an indoor gym. They have the covered patio outdoor gym, and then literally like an outdoor gym, and then like a CrossFit type workout area, and then of course the Padel courts. But it's good. It's really good. It's really good. I'm excited. I like Real Club too, but I haven't tried. I played tennis when I was younger. I was actually a tennis coach too for a little bit. I was not a very good tennis player. No, don't get me. I mean, I played soccer or football more when I grew up, but no, I have never played Padel. No. This is one of those things for me. I'm like, okay, ask yourself, do you see yourself doing this in 10 years? And if the answer is no, don't even get started. I know I'm pretty black and white sometimes, but I wouldn't mind actually. I can go once or twice, yeah, for sure. But right now, I want to be careful. My ankle is like in bad shape. Well, it's going to be okay in a couple of days, hopefully. And my knee has been bothering me a little bit, but I just try to keep my head in that game, in the gym game. But yeah, many people talk about it. But like in the US, it's pickleball that's picking up a lot. It's like there's like these pickleball leagues, like these professional leagues that people play in, and it's been growing like crazy, that sport. And don't ask me what the difference is. You probably know what the difference is between pickleball and paddle. I don't know. Is the court smaller? At least the racket is different, right? And the ball? I'm guessing paddle is faster. I don't know. I don't know. So, but anyhow, I gotta go, guys. It's 10:07. I have to. Last one. What does your diet look like? Sure. Morning. I have standardized my breakfast, and I don't deviate from that no matter where I go unless I'm at a hotel. Meaning my breakfast is always the same oatmeal, protein, banana pancake. So I have 1 whole egg, 4 egg whites, 1 smashed banana, 80 to 100 grams of oats, and 1 scoop of vanilla protein powder. I get roughly 50 grams of protein from that, 55, and then a decent amount of carbs, good fats. That's my breakfast with fresh berries or frozen berries. Then lunch, dinner are basically just carbs are from rice, sweet potatoes, veggies, and then just lean protein. It's 7%, 5 to 7% ground beef, salmon, chicken, or beef. Very basic. And then dinner the same way. And then if I have I usually have 4 meals a day, solid meals. Then I could just have, for evening snack, I could just have some fried eggs and even oatmeal again. That's my typical diet. Very, I mean, I standardize it, same stuff. I'm quite strict, but yeah, occasionally I do eat ice cream and stuff, but very little alcohol. Yeah, but pretty much 90% is very standard. And then, of course, if I travel like this, tomorrow morning, I just have something at the airport. But yeah, of course, that's just an outlier. But yeah. Supplements, as far as supplements go, I train on an empty stomach. I have just my morning greens and BCAA, I like amino acids, essential amino acids in the morning. Thanks a lot, Matteo. And then supplement, yeah, creatine and some amino acids and carbs during my intra-workout drink is the thing that gives me energy during workouts. So that's how I do it. So very standard, nothing fancy, basic. Thank you guys. A lot of good questions. I appreciate it. I'll try to do this tomorrow. Anyhow, very frequently now over the next couple of days or weeks since I'm over there. And thank you so much. Appreciate this opportunity, and I'll talk to you later.